What's going on, my friends? Chris Peach here with episode 148 of the Money Peach podcast, Money Peach live show. Really excited about today's show. On this podcast, as you've known, we've done a lot of different things. We talk about ways to increase your income. Increasing your income is way more fun than cutting all your expenses. I want to show you how to increase your income. And so we've had a lot of different ways, but we've never had anybody come on like we're going to have today. So we are having professional flippers, Flea Market Flippers, Rob and Melissa Stephenson. They're in Orlando, Florida, and they're coming on the show to talk about how to become an expert or how to become the master at flipping and making money. And they're doing it the right way. They've been doing it for, we're going to talk about for a long time, about over 20 years now they've been flipping. And so we're going to walk into this and see what it's like to flip. But I don't know anything about it, so I needed to bring on somebody that does. So here I have Rob and Melissa from the Flea Market Flippers. Let's bring them in the studio. So, hey, guys, you're here. Welcome to the show.
What's going on?
Hey.
So you guys are known as, I mean, everybody in the financial blogging space kind of knows you guys as just like, they don't even know your first names anymore. They just know they're the Flea Market Flippers.
Yep.
So kind of give us a little background here. As I know you're in Orlando, Florida. You guys have 3 kids, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So your mom and dad, your husband, wife, but you also have this really unique business where you guys, you flip things and you increase your income. That's how you generate your revenue, generate your profit. But I kind of want to back up here is how do you even get into flipping? Like, how did this even start?
That's with you.
Yeah, definitely. At a young age, my parents modeled this, this lifestyle or this side hustle to me. I grew up in a bigger family. I have 6 older sisters. I'm the youngest and only boy. We grew up to where my parents would have to go to yard sales to be able to put clothes on our back, that kind of stuff. So we didn't grow up real rich, but they did that. And as my parents would go to yard sales, my mom loved it. Every weekend, she would go to Saturday yard sales. She would buy anytime she saw some expensive equipment, whether it was exercise, commercial equipment, she would buy that from a local yard sale, and then she would bring it back to our house. And this was before eBay, so she would sell it in the local classified section. Orlando Sentinel was what it was. So, and at a young age, I saw my parents be able to create some side income on top of their normal careers doing this, and it was fun. It was fun to see and be able to purchase new stuff. And then, yeah, like I said, we ended up having toys and all kinds of crazy stuff that they would find great deals at yard sales. And then slowly, as I became 16, 17, I started doing it as a side hustle. And then through the last over 20 years now, I've done it as a side hustle until 5 years ago, we actually jumped into it full time, Melissa and I, to provide for our family. And that's when we've really grown within the last 5 years.
And I'm married.
Oh, I'm sorry. So go ahead, Melissa. Go ahead. I know you married into it, but one of the things the thing that I really like about your guys' story and your guys' method is there are a lot, I mean, people see it. There are a lot of people out there saying, do what we do and you'll make $500,000 per year. And a lot of people look at that going, that's just not realistic. I'm going to leave my job and just start this new thing and make $500,000 this year. And you see a lot of this spammy stuff on the internet or on podcasts as well. And I really try to make sure we never have that, by the way, if you're a new listener on the show. But one thing I really like is how you just said you started as a side hustle. So what were you doing full time then along this? Because people out there, they're not looking to necessarily replace their job. They just want to increase their income.
Right. For the first beginning of our marriage for 10 years, I was a personal trainer and worked at a gym. And then he did reports for home inspections. So
exactly.
A home inspector. And then we did flipping on the side, and it was always our extra money, like our vacation fund or extra funds that we would do, fund money, any extra bills that came up, and our savings. So
we never really understood the full potential of what we were doing until we needed a full-time income because of both of our careers. And then that's where
actually it was when I had decided to stop training when our 3rd baby was born. And right then, because it was crazy, we had 3 kids that were 3 and under. So I'm like, I can't keep doing this is insane. So I have to stop and just be home. And then right the month before he was born, his job said that we're cutting benefits. Health insurance. And that was really the biggest reason he had that job. So we're like, okay, do we jump full time? Like, do we just go all in? Like, we already know what we can do in 5 hours a week. Like, what if we have all this, we could, dive in. And so that's kind of what pushed us to do it. So
So Melissa, so you didn't grow up in a flipping family, so you kind of married into it. So what is that like when you meet Rob and he's like, hey, we're going to go flipping, we're going to take a road trip. We're going to go buy something over here. I mean, what is that? I mean, what is your first thought? Because I know somebody right now is listening going, this sounds great, but my boyfriend or my husband or my wife, they're going to think I'm crazy that I want to go to, to thrift stores or go to garage sales and go flipping.
Yeah. Well, I remember one of the first times when we were dating and he had bought this tanning bed from was it, I don't even know where you bought it from.
Probably
Some
flea
market. He bought this tanning bed and then he's like, yeah, I got this gym that wants to buy this tanning bed. I just like, what are you, I don't even understand what's going on. He made good money and whatever. I'm like, okay. So.
All right. So you're from 1996 to 2015, you guys, you're not flipping as a full-time income yet. You're doing it as a side hustle, which I think is so smart. Don't quit your full-time job to go start a side hustle. Side hustle is what it means, that you do it on the side. So what kind of income realistically are you looking at, that first year, or not the first year, but during that period of time? Like, I just want listeners to have an idea of, okay, this is not something I sign up for and I make $100,000 to become a flipper. What does it look like in the very beginning?
I mean, when we really started keeping really good records, when we were still doing it as a side hustle, that last year before we went into full time, we had made 42,000 gross and 33,000 net. And then the next year when we jumped in full time, we hit 130 gross, and then it was 100 net. So that was full time. And then it's gone down a little bit since then, because now we're pouring more into our other side hustle now of like coaching and helping people.
Yeah.
So it's gone down a little bit, but we still.
But the other thing is, you have to realize too that we lived this as a side hustle for over 20 years. Yeah. So I had quite a bit of experience going into it, selling in eBay, looking for items. That stuff, some people it doesn't come natural to, and some people they love going to yard sales, to flea markets to find those deals that they're getting amazing deals. When people are already in that, they can definitely start off making some good money. But sometimes it takes a little bit to build those skills to be able to jump into it like we did.
What is your best flipping story? Like, I have to know, because I'm going to ask you the opposite of this too, but I want to know first, what's the best flipping story? I mean, what I want to know is, what's your find that you had, and then all of a sudden you bought it for this much and you sold it for, way more?
I think the leg is the best story.
We'll give you two stories.
Okay.
So the first one that people know us for really is a prosthetic leg I picked up at the flea market. It was a prosthetic leg. It was a knee joint. So it was only probably about that long. We bought it for
titanium knee joint.
Right? It was Otterbach. I still remember the name of the company that manufactured it, Otterbach. If I pronounce that correctly, I don't know, but it was a prosthetic leg we bought for $35. We picked it up, we brought it home, and I sold it.
Next day.
Yeah, and
we listed it in a couple hours.
Less than 24 hours, and we sold it for $1,000. So $35 into $1,000. I sold it for $9.99 on eBay, and sold it super quick. That would be the first story, which is pretty cool.
And the biggest one.
And our biggest profit, we sold a parking lot security tower. So it is actually on a trailer. You pull it somewhere, it raises up into the air like 25 feet. And then you can see over a parking lot or use it for whatever you want to. We paid, I think it was $5,000 for that, which is not normal for us. That's a lot of money to invest. But we did it because I did the research on it before I bought it. I found out that the retail on it was like $130,000. I got it for $5,000. We sold it for $25,000 in less than a month. So that was by far our biggest flip that we've ever done.
Holy cow. Okay. So prosthetic leg. I mean, the thing is when you're thinking about flipping and doing flea markets, you're thinking, oh, I'll go buy an old oven and resell it, but prosthetic leg, you just don't think that, right? That's just not something you think of. And then again, with the tower, I've seen those like in the malls where they have it like Christmas time, they put it in the mall. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's your success stories. Now, every entrepreneur out there, if they're telling you they've never crashed and burned, they're lying, or they're not an entrepreneur. So what are some of the crash and burn stories? Because I think the audience needs to realize too, it's not all ponies and rainbows, right? There's going to be some kind of, dip down. Oops. Oh, I shouldn't have bought that. I've done it plenty of times. I paid my stupid tax. What's one of them for you?
The boat.
Yeah, definitely the boat. The cool thing about what we do is not as
it's not as high risk.
It's not because of nowadays. When I started out years ago, we did not have a smartphone. We could not go to an auction. We could not go to the flea market, and we couldn't, bring that smartphone with us to do the research before we bought an item.
It was a bigger gamble for sure.
So we were just going off of our knowledge of what we knew was worth money. So nowadays you don't have to do that. You can research everything before you get there. So, but being said, I bought, I should say, a inflatable boat from one of my contacts at the flea market. It was brand spanking new. I thought, how in the heck can I go wrong? What did was it $100?
Yeah.
I spent $100 on it, still in the package. And I got it home and I looked at it and it was like 5 or 6 years old. And come to find out, the glue that was holding the boat together was actually, it was peeling apart. And yeah, right then I knew I was screwed. So anyways, I think I broke even with that deal to where I didn't lose money, but it was one of the ones, if it was in good condition as I thought it was, we would have sold it for $2,000 and we would have made good money. But and I
think you just sold it as is for like $100.
Yeah, I think I got my money back out of it. But like in the earlier days, trust me, I bought so many things. We used to go to a Salvation Army auction when I was younger, and I bought so many things there, thinking that they were, good items. And you get home and find out you can barely get your money back on these. So there are stuff out there that you will find that you'll crash and burn on, but the majority of them, if you do the right research before, you don't have to take a huge risk at it.
Okay, so speaking of the right research, you have me intrigued. I've never flipped anything. I have a good friend. He flips cars. He's been doing it for I don't know, probably 10 years, and he literally started with like a $500 car, and now he's like driving a $30,000 truck, and he's just kept like flipping up. So he has this beautiful truck now, but he started with this like with a beater. And so he's been doing this. So I've seen people do it with vehicles. I also watch the shows. I love watching the where they go to the storage unit, and that kind of stuff, and the auction. It's very similar, right? Buying and selling high. Yeah. But if someone is thinking like, okay, I would like, how many hours a week are they looking at? If you're doing a side hustle, and how do we get started? So let me ask you this: how many hours a week should they be dedicating to, say, if they wanted to make $500 extra a month?
Yeah, I think it's more, I would say in 5 hours, you can do a lot, 5 to 10 hours a week. I mean, if you're really serious about it, you can do a lot in that. And I think it's more about, instead of like, I have one day, like to do it, if you could do a little bit every day, being more consistent, it's a little bit better. Like as far as listing for the algorithms, it's better. As far as looking for things, we like to buy a lot on apps. So things are constantly being listed. Sure. So if we can check it, 15 minutes every evening, then that's really nice, or 30 minutes, then being more consistent is a lot more helpful. Yeah. So, but yeah, 5 to 10 hours a week for sure.
Realistically, could somebody make an extra $500 a month within their first couple extra months of doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, easily. Sure. We have students that do it.
All the time.
The other thing, a little bit different about our business model, is we are not out flipping items to make $5, $7, stuff like that. We want to work less to make more money. We found out when we went full time into this, we wanted to spend more time with each other and with our family. So we had to find those items that had the higher retail value, and we could turn around and make $500, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. We wanted to find those items so it was less effort and time invested into a single item than having to sell 500 of a $500 or a $5 item or a $1 and whatever you're doing. So our business model is to buy less, sell them for a higher profit, and then we spend less time working on the business.
So yeah, you see a lot of this, and you see a lot of people who are selling on eBay, and it's just volume with very small profit margins. So it sounds like you're kind of the opposite. You're looking for more of a higher profit, lower volume.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is that tough to find these diamonds in the rough then, or is it doing this for a long time, you kind of know what to look for?
Yeah, you definitely develop an eye.
You do.
He can pretty much find stuff wherever. We just did a road trip this summer, and wherever we stopped, like he sits at the hotel for 10 minutes, like, oh, we got to go pick this up. We bring our trailer with us so we can source on the road. But yeah, you can find that stuff everywhere pretty much.
We did a 30-day road trip and ended up coming back with $24,000 of inventory. And it was
8 items.
It 8 items. That was all it was.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we spent $1,400
on those.
So the vacation paid for itself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then some.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'm asking for me personally then. So I'm going to go home and I'm going to tell my wife, I'm going to say, hey, Andrea, I kind of want to try this out. I think it'd be fun to do. It'd be fun for the kids and I, and, for the 4 of us. Where do I start though? Do I start driving around town and trying to find yard sales, or where do you recommend when you're telling people to get started? Where should they start to find their stuff they should be selling?
Yeah, we tell everybody, start with the stuff that's in your house that you're going to give away to Salvation Army, Goodwill, whatever, those things that you're going to donate. Start with those items first. and get the feel of the flipping, the flipping business. You might not know how to sell on eBay. You can either, learn how to do that, or you can just post them on Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, all these other apps. That's where we love to buy stuff, but you can list stuff on there to turn it quicker if you want to make money that way. We sell probably 80 to 90% of our sales go on eBay. Now, the big thing about eBay is you're limited to a local market. You remember how I told you back when I was a kid, my mom would go to yard sales and she'd pick up stuff from yard sales, which was you're limited to maybe 100 people visiting that yard sale over the weekend. Well, she would take it from the yard sale and then she'd put it into the classified section, which you get a couple thousand people looking at the classified sections. Now, we do that to a model of we pick it up locally in a market of maybe 40 to 60,000 people on OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, depending on your town. We take it from that market and then we throw it onto eBay, which has over 182 million registered users. So there's a lot more people there that are looking for that specific item. That way we can ask more money.
Not all of them are looking for that.
Exactly.
Item, but there's more eyes that can.
Exactly. And when I say we can ask more money, we're not asking retail. We usually stick the 50% of retail when we sell items. Yeah. That's what our sweet spot is, 50% of retail. So when somebody sees it on eBay, they're like, I can say 50% if I buy it here versus going to buy it new. And then that makes it more appealing to them. So we buy it in a smaller market and take it to a bigger market. That's why we do eBay.
But I was going to say also getting started with stuff in your house kind of gives you the idea of how eBay works, if that's where you want to start selling, and also lets you build up your feedback, because people aren't going to want to buy the more expensive stuff from you if you have zero feedback. So if you can do the smaller items, less expensive stuff at first, all the stuff that you said you're going to donate anyway, like it doesn't matter if it doesn't make you that much, as long as you're building up your feedback and getting the experience, and then you can start to find the more higher profit items and sell those.
So I kind of like what you said right there, because you look at eBay, and I do this all the time. If I'm buying something on eBay and I see somebody has 4,000 reviews that are positive, and somebody has one, even if it's the same price, I'm probably going to go with the 4,000 just because it makes me feel better. So you're saying build those build the reviews up using smaller ticket items that people aren't really going to care about, not these larger ticket items. And then when you build that up, you can go to the to the prosthetic legs or whatever it might be along those lines right there. Okay, so this question is from Melissa. I've been following you on the blog and on YouTube, and so I feel like, are you the one taking the pictures? Is this kind of your bread and butter?
Actually, if it's the larger items, he takes the pictures. If it's the smaller items, I take the pictures. So.
So what are some of the tidbits that do we need to go out and buy some fancy camera? What would you, is there some kind of background or some kind of do's and don'ts? Because I know that a lot of these sites you have, I think like 10 to 12 pictures that you could put online. Should you use all 12 and overwhelm people, or should it just be a few pictures? What have you seen works?
Yeah, definitely use all of the pictures that you can use. On eBay, the person doesn't get to see the item first, so you want to show it as best you can, and all the imperfections too as well. And just, we use our iPhones. We don't have any fancy camera. We use our iPhones, and then just a clear, uncluttered background. You can use a white background. eBay does have now a feature that you can take the background out, and I've done that. I've played around with it a little bit and can take it out. I usually do just like the first picture, but then I leave it in for the rest, because I still want them, I don't want them to think that it looks better in the pictures than it really does. So I still want to get all the imperfections of the item too. So I don't know if you want to talk about that, because he used to try to sell it better than it was back in the day, and that never works. So
you definitely have to be careful. You do not want to overpromise and underdeliver on your items. You want people to have a good expectation of what they're receiving. That way you do not get that negative feedback. You want the positive feedback to grow your business.
So taking good pictures. But the only thing I ever do to edit them is maybe just lighten them up a little bit and just using my phone editor, and just lighten them just so they're a little bit brighter, but not changing the color or changing how the item looks in any way. Just brighten it. So.
What about like some of the rules you have for listing these items? I mean, I know like titles are everything, right? I mean, you can have I always say you could have the best podcast interview, you could have the best blog post, but if you could have the best email, but if you don't have a good subject line or a good headline, no one sees it. Is that very similar in the world of flipping?
Yeah. Title's definitely everything. It's just because of you're limited to catching your audience with those couple words. So eBay, when you're listing an item on eBay, the only way they can find that item is with the title. So you have, I think it's 88 characters to get the right person looking for that. So you have to put yourself in the shoes of, hey, is my buyer going to be typing in this word to look for it? And you want to use as many words in that title as you can. Descriptions, I mean, they're important, but it's not like copy. It doesn't have to be perfect, this magnificent description that's going to sell it.
Yeah.
It's going to be your pictures and the title. The title's going to bring them in. The pictures are what they're going to be able to see the item that they're getting. And then the description.
It can do some features that it
Exactly.
might do, but that's about it.
Exactly.
But I was going to say the title too doesn't also, it doesn't have to make sense. Like it can, as long as you just put all the words in, it doesn't really have to make sense as you're saying it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to like, right?
Well, exactly. You just want the buzzwords. You
Yeah.
want the words that the people are going to be searching, no matter what that is. It doesn't have to be in perfect order. You just want those in the title. The title
as many words as possible.
is very, very important.
And then do you have any like tidbits you can give us as far as, you've been doing this now for a long time, but is there any best practices you've seen when you're listing something, or have seen it where somebody lists something, maybe one of your students or somebody lists something, you're like, ooh, don't use that. That's a no, like is there something like spammy that people should stay away from when they're talking about their titles or headlines or, naming the product?
I think one of the biggest things we see is people don't even like use enough descriptive words, like we said, or make it sound like the item is better than it is, right?
Yeah.
When you've looked at some of their accounts or your accounts.
Definitely, like I said before, you do not want to overpromise and underdeliver. When I started out, I got an item that was used, and to me, it looked like it was in perfect condition. So that's how I listed it. And then when the buyer got it, they're like, wait a minute, there's scratches on this. This does not look perfect. So I learned that the hard way. So you definitely want to, even on most of our listings, if I can't find scratches or scuffs and it's a used item, I will put that in my listing. This is a used item. Please expect normal wear and tear, scratches, scuffs, scrapes, whatever, anything like that, to where when the buyer gets it, they're excited about it versus being upset at, wait, there were some scratches in here. He didn't say anything about this. So you definitely want to underpromise and overdeliver on your items. It will help you a ton.
Okay. So then I heard you talk about 50% of retail. So what I'm guessing is what that meant to me is you're buying something, you find out what it retails for, and you're always at 50%, correct?
About
roughly.
Yeah.
Roughly. So when you're building in, like when you're looking at buying something, I'm just trying to do the process in my head. I'm looking at something on, like at a garage sale or in my house. What would make sense in my house? But I'm looking at a garage sale or yard sale or something like that. I'm already looking, okay, let's just say I'm buying an oven. And let's say the oven's $3,000 new, right? So 50% is $1,500. So I need to make sure if I got to be below this $1,500 if that's what I'm going to sell for. Is this kind of the method you guys use?
Yeah. So we would probably want to get that oven for about $150 because we'd like 10X is usually
10X is what we shoot.
Oh, okay. 10X. Okay. So I love when there's like little tidbits here.
Yeah.
So 10X is kind of the model you're looking for because there's going to be some negotiating back and forth.
Yeah.
What about then? I noticed you guys you said about 85% of sales on eBay. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So eBay has the feature of bidding or buy it now. What do you guys recommend for somebody just getting started?
All of our stuff is buy it now. We very seldom do auctions. But if you're starting out and you want to build your feedback, auctions are not the worst thing ever. It's stuff that you don't really care about the price. You don't want to lose money on shipping. So you want to make sure your shipping is covered.
You can still put the shipping in there.
Exactly. And then let it go for $1, $2, $3, whatever it is. So you're giving the buyer a great deal and they're going to give you positive feedback. But the majority of our stuff, very seldom will we do an auction unless I'm just trying to liquidate something and get it out. But the majority of our stuff is buy it now prices. So we want people to see it, know that we're at 50% of retail, and then they're going to buy it because it's so cheap compared to buying it new.
I think Amazon's changed that a lot because now people are searching and they just want to buy it. So I think that's why more people want to buy it now versus waiting for the auction to go out, unless they think they could really get it for a steal.
Yeah.
But so I think that's why buy it now works a little better now.
What about on the other side of that? If you're purchasing something, not maybe on eBay, but in person, what are some of the techniques that you used? And we actually had a podcast a while back on how to buy a used car, negotiating, bargaining, being quiet. But do you have any skills or anything that you're looking for when you're buying something? Like if you're buying something that 50% is $1,500 and you're trying to get it for $150, I mean, are you offering $50 to start and then kind of working your way there? Or what's some of the things that you've seen have worked?
Yeah, the majority of the time we're already, they already have the price on the item. So if I get to a stove or an oven and I see it's $200, I typically will get the name brand and the model. If I'm at the flea market, I'll put the name brand and the model. I'll walk away from it, pull it up on my phone. This was the other thing. a lot of people don't know how to get, when we say it's not a gamble, this business isn't a gamble, I can jump on eBay and see what these items have sold for. So within the last 30 days, I can plug in that oven, that model, and see if it has sold. And if it has, I can see what it sold for. Gives me a great idea of what I can sell it for because I have 100% feedback. We have 400 or 500 feedback is what do we have on eBay. So that just gives me a great thing. So I'll walk away, look it up, then I'll come back and negotiate with them. Negotiating is definitely a skill. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Be willing to walk away from an item. It's not the end of the world. If I come back and they're asking $200 and I offer them $100, he says, no way, I can walk away again. And then I can come back and say, okay, is there any way you can go to, 175 or 150? You can negotiate a couple times with people. It doesn't have to be yes or no, and then that's it. The only downfall is the seller knows if you come back the second time, you really want the item. So they have, they kind of have you. So you kind of want to dicker the first time you're there with them. And if you're doing it on an app,
walk away too.
Yeah, always be willing to walk away if the price is not right. And on an app, it's so easy to do all the research, send them an offer, go back and forth with offers if you want, because you're not in person right there doing it in person. It's very easy to do it over an app.
Awesome. So there's so many questions I have, and I usually keep our podcast about 24, 25 minutes long. So we're kind of hitting that 25-minute mark. But there are, if somebody wants to get in contact with you, I know that you guys started doing a webinar and you guys teach a lot of these same principles. And there's things I wanted to talk about, like what about fees? What are some of the best places to look for deals, selling, photos? I wanted to talk a lot more. We don't have time for that. But if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, you guys do have a webinar, which I'm going to put links in our show notes to the webinar. But what can they expect from the webinar?
Go through. We do. He takes you through kind of like our story and gives you some tools to get started. And also at the end of the webinar, we do give our beginner's guide to selling on eBay too, so you can get that as well. So
yeah, people are very scared of Facebook. Yeah, people are very scared of eBay. eBay does not have to be as scary as you think it is. So yeah, that's why we created that book to teach people that. But yeah, the webinar, it just kind of lets you know. We take you through the steps of, if you enjoy bargain hunting, if you're already out there going to yard sales and thrift stores, it makes it that much easier to make an income from it.
See if it's something that you would want to do to make an extra income. So
you guys also have this community where you guys do these challenges, and I saw this headline and I have to ask, like, what am I reading this correctly? But it said a free chair to $103,000 in this challenge. I have to know, what does this mean? What happened?
Last year we did a challenge. We found a chair. We like to walk to our downtown every day, and we found so much stuff in the trash, in the free stuff all the time. We found this chair and we took it home, threw it on Facebook Marketplace for $50, and then we took that $50 and you bought 2 bikes, I think, exercise bikes, and sold them for $500 each on eBay, and then took that money and just kept reinvesting it. Yeah, and we only kept track till May, and we got to $15,000 liquid cash and then $100,000 in inventory. Yeah, and then it got too much and we didn't keep track of it. But that's where we got to.
So you started off with a free chair that was in the garbage.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
This is so cool. I love it. I love it. All right, guys. Well, we'll send people over to your webinar. We'll make sure if you guys are interested in this, don't go and learn from somebody that started yesterday. I would say learn from somebody that started in 1996. They probably know more than the person that started yesterday. And as you can see, if you guys are watching this or you guys are listening, you could just see that there's people out there that you're drawn to, that you like, and there's people out there like, I'm not. Rob and Melissa are normal, fun, really cool people, and I promise you're going to enjoy them on their webinar even more than you had on this show. So I want to thank you guys so much for coming on. And all the show notes, all the links, anything that we talked about can be found on our moneypeach.com/session148. That's moneypeach.com/session148. We'll put links to Rob and Melissa's site, some really cool blog posts they have up, their YouTube channel, their Instagram channel. Follow them there. And then also, of course, their webinar, which you guys can register. And really quick, the webinar, is it free or does it cost money?
No, it's free.
Free.
Okay. And how often do you guys do them?
It goes on every day.
Okay, perfect. So hop on there, check them out. And you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for being here. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Boom, da-ba-doom, boom, da-ba-doom.